I was living in a 400 square foot shanty. It was dirty. It was on a main drag, so the traffic was always loud. I worked a construction job, so I had to wake up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I remember I used to drive this old Ford 1990 Ford F-150. All of the paint would kind of fly off onto other cars. It was kind of embarrassing. I had no money in my savings account. Sometimes I wasn't even able to get through that week. This was what rock bottom was like for me. I was broke, not only financially, but I was also broke mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. I was at a place to where it just felt like it couldn't get any worse. I couldn't give my family what my family deserved. My daughter used to look at me constantly like, is this all there is for us in life? And I knew that I was just at a place that I couldn't go on any longer living like that, feeling like that. I was not thriving in life, I was surviving in life. I was at a crossroads, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and of course physically. Something just sparked inside of me. I woke up one day, I looked at my daughter, I looked at my girl, Erin, and I said, enough is enough. I said, there's no way that I can go on living like this. There's no way that I can go on existing like this. I was going to make a decision to change my life. I was going to do whatever it took to find out how I needed to live my dreams and give my family the life that they deserved. I was in the right place at the right time to make a decision, and that decision changed everything. From that decision of me sitting down and realizing, basically, if nothing changes, nothing changes, now was the time that I had an opportunity to make a difference in not only my life, but also my family's life. I went through a lot of pain. I went through a lot of struggle at first, and stumbled upon a piece of information that revealed to me a simple system, a formula. And it wasn't a long, drawn-out, complicated formula. It was a simple 3-step system that I could use that would create what is now an empire, a small empire. I've literally made millions of dollars with this information over the course of the last couple of years. The cool thing is it's now allowed me to live the life of my dreams, travel the world, do what I want with who I want, when I want. I've bought the kind of cars that I've wanted to drive. I just moved into a brand new 5,000 square foot mansion in this unbelievable neighborhood. My neighbors sometimes look at me like I'm absolutely crazy, and they're like, when are your parents going to come home? It's not because I have any more skill sets than anybody else. It's not because I know anything different. It's because I finally found a system that I can use that was easy and simple, that can be applied to my business from day one. Over the course of the last 12 months, we've literally not sold, not told, not convinced or done anything complicated, just handed it over to our team, the people that we work with, and they've applied it to their business. And I'm going to tell you, the results have been nearly unbelievable. If I didn't show you that proof, you might think it was unbelievable if I started to tell you that people like Lawrence Tam used to sit in a cubicle, and he was in a cubicle 6 months ago, and now he's free. He's made over $500,000 in commissions with this information over the course of the last 12 months. So the cool thing is I actually wanted to introduce you to a couple of these people. So without further ado, I want to show you, I want to introduce to you some of the people that have used the simple 3-step formula that I'm going to show you on this video right here, right now. I want to introduce you to those people who have gotten amazing results with this simple formula that you're going to learn when I come back right after introducing you to these folks. So here we go.
I've made approximately $406,000.
I was making about $30,000, $35,000 every single month.
And my earnings about $60,000.
I just bought a new Maserati.
Our best month was like $60,000 or $70,000 for the month.
Financially, it's been an amazing blessing. I've hit over 110 grand.
I've done about $579,000. In our 5th month in the business, we did $34,000.
A little bit over $300,000. I've made around $125,000 so far with Empower Network.
Hey guys, welcome back. back. I hope you got a lot out of those testimonials. We would have put more in it, but we want to get right down to the meat and potatoes of really what this three-step system can actually do for you in your business. This is a big deal, and most people have charged $5,000, $10,000 just to teach what we want to teach you for free inside of this video, because we're going to tell you why in a second. You're just going to make sense why this is so important to us, why we're so passionate about teaching people, teaching our team, teaching the people who we work with how to get money, but not get money in a way that is hard and difficult. Get money in a way that's simple and easy to do, in a way that anybody can do it. Guys, I want to introduce you to somebody who's a best friend and a business partner to me inside of my life and my business. Guys, this is somebody who I met on the internet a couple of years back, just like you're meeting us right now, and we formed a partnership that turned into a vision and idea that we were able to create a system that's now become the system that an army of people all across the internet are now using to get money, Mr. David Wood. But that's not all I want to say about this guy. I want you to listen very closely to the words that we're talking about. I'm going to turn it over to him here in a second. We're going to have a conversation with you guys. This is not going to be something to where we're pitching. This is not something to where we're selling and telling. There's no convincing here to do. We just want to basically download the information that we have in our heads that's helped our team over the course of just the last 12 months alone earn over $21 million in commissions directly deposited into their bank account. So this man, myself as well, we can teach you, we can show you, and we're going to do that right here, right now on this video. So glad to have you back. Dave?
Great to be here, brother. You know, and the thing is that I love about conversations like this, it's that casual conversations like this is where the real gold nuggets come out. You know, I just want to say before we go any further in this video that we're going to be talking a lot about getting money in this video. We're going to be teaching you how to have money come into your bank account daily. We're going to be giving a lot of his stories and examples, stuff that's happened to us, stuff that's happened to thousands of people around the world. But I got to disclaim for a second here that just because I've gotten a lot of money, Dave gets money deposited in his bank account. I mean, ridiculous amounts that honestly, if I told you probably wouldn't believe it anyways. But just because I've got a $500,000 sitting in my checking account and we've paid $21 million in commissions the last 13 months doesn't mean you're going to get any money at all. You might not make any money because I honestly don't know what kind of person you are. You might be somebody who works your ass off when you see something like this. You might be a damned wussy. I have no clue. And so if you're the kind of person who takes advice and who knows something when they see it, I encourage you to keep watching this, because we're going to show you a three-step formula that's going to help you get the results that you want. If you've ever wanted to be able to create massive financial leverage, you know, I started out of a van, Dave, 3 years ago now. I keep forgetting because I'm disconnected from reality. I mean, this pen here, it costs more than my car costs. You know, when I lived in the van, that van was $650. This was $750, you know. And so when you disconnect from normal, and that's what I want to encourage you to do for the next few minutes, we're actually going to teach you how to get money, not like the gurus do. We're not going to teach you to get money like a normal affiliate does. We're going to show you how to create ridiculous, massive leverage without picking up the phone, without making sales videos, without having to know everything, without having to manage technology. We're going to show you a three-step system that now has produced multiple 8 figures in sales, and as affiliates, Dave Sharp and I actually of what we're going to talk about here, we've earned $1.9 million by following these strategies. So I think this shit's badass.
When I first got started, I borrowed my woman's credit card and went to Best Buy, bought a computer, okay, took that computer home and started to try to figure out how to set up a website. And I'll tell you what I did with setting up that website was I would work construction all day long, like I told you before. I would come home at night. I was tired. I was exhausted. I was hungry. I was angry. I was frustrated. And I would sit there and stare at my computer for hours upon hours trying to figure out how to move a picture a centimeter to the left. The truth of the matter is that most people, when they first get started, they struggle with the most fundamental things that if you want to get money fast, you should not be dealing with. You should not be bogged down worrying about how to set up a website, how to set up XYZ technology, because the truth of the matter is that's not why you're getting into business. That's not why you're an entrepreneur. That's not why you want to make money. You want to make money because you want to use a formula and a system that's proven to get money without all of the bullshit that bogs people down, that keeps them not only frustrated, but it also keeps them broke. I know that you have some amazing and almost unbelievable stories, but it's going to be believable to these people because they're going through the same thing of how you struggled and frustrated when you first got started too.
Well, this is hilarious, talking about the actual frustration and cost, because I'm just going to be honest with you, there's a lot of wussbags online who teach things that they've never done. They're trying to teach people how to get money. They've never actually gotten any money themselves. They're saying you need to brand yourself, you need to be a guru. Well, let me actually tell you what this means. Let me tell you how I got started, Dave. I was living outside of a 1996 Dodge Caravan that I bought for $650 in Hawaii, sleeping on different beaches every single night. I had no money at all. I had a job at Greenpeace where I was hitting up strangers, on street corners, trying to give them, get commissions by getting them to give a donation to Greenpeace to save the environment. You know what I mean? I got fired from that job because I was late every day. They're like, I'm like, you're hippies. A hippie is allowed to be late, and they said, we're sorry, you're fired. So I got fired from that job. So I was married. I've been married for 5 years now to my gorgeous wife Ashley, and living in a van with no money. I was down to about $50 in my checking account because the amount of money that I had, I was spending on gas, driving around looking for jobs. You know what I mean? This is who you're talking to, who's made $1.9 million last year on the internet, is a guy who couldn't keep a job at Greenpeace. So just keep that in mind as you're watching this video. So I wanted to get some money, you know what I'm saying? So I got online, got a business going, and I started calling leads, you know what I'm saying? Just pounding the phone, calling leads. I wasted a bunch of money I borrowed from my parents calling leads. That didn't work. Then I started calling people from job ads on Craigslist and things like this, trying to recruit them into this little deal, right? And it didn't work. And then one day I was on YouTube, and I saw this video from a guy that I thought was rich. And he said, hey, I'm rich. Go to my website. And it was this dumbass video, I'm just going to be honest with you. But I went to that website, and for whatever crazy reason, I believed it would work. I remember sitting here, and I was on a page, much like you're on right now, and I'd read this big long letter, and at the bottom there's this big old buy now button. And I was staring at that thing, and I remember, Dave, I asked the question, is this like all that other stuff? Am I just going to get in? Am I just going to spend some money? Am I just going to pull out my credit card and buy? And then am I still not going to be able to get the results that I want? I remember thinking that. I almost didn't make a decision. Well, here's what actually happened. I made a decision and got started, right? Here's what that led to. 3 months later, from that moment in time, I had my first month where I made more than $30,000 in a month. I actually had a week where I made more than $25,000. That year, it was 3 months left in the year. That year, I made over $100,000 with only 3 months from the time I got started till the end of the year. Because I made $30,000, I made $45,000 the next month. The next year, I made over $30,000 a month. The next year, I made over $500,000, and this year, we're making far in excess of 6 figures a month, all from living in a van, from making a decision, much like you're doing right now. So what is it that I did, though, and what was the actual cost is what I want to talk about in a minute. The frustration. I spent almost the entire time trying to figure it out. I had to get an autoresponder. I had to figure the autoresponder out. That was $30 a month, and I had to borrow the money from my parents. I had to join a business opportunity. That was $200 a month. I had to borrow that money from my wife, who went and got a job as a hostess. I had to pay for video hosting. I had to pay for audio hosting. I had to set up cloud services. I had to set up a blog. And you know what? I did it. But it wasn't cheap. It wasn't inexpensive. It cost me a lot of money and a lot of frustration and a heck of a lot of hard work. But here's the key, Dave. I did all that work, and I had a gift for selling stuff. You might be watching this video and say, man, I can't sell stuff like you, Dave. Well, that's what I realized after a long period of time. See, Dave, I can sell stuff like nobody's business. Dave Sharp has a gift for selling stuff. The vast majority of the population have to learn that. I had to learn that over a long period of time in my life. So when I got to the internet, I had a conglomeration of gifts that made me a lot of money, and I was still not very technical, but the technicalities, the setup by itself, cost me thousands of dollars. My website still looked like shit at the time. It took like 6 seconds to load. I don't remember if you know that dumbass photo I had on my blog, Dave. You know that photo? Yeah. That photo was me actually kneeling on top of the van that I lived in Hawaii. I needed a photo for my blog, so I took this shirtless photo and I put it on the top of my blog, and I was actually kneeling on the $650 van that I lived in on the top of my blog. It was all crooked and everything like that, and that still cost me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But you know what the thing is? That was still worth it. And I'm thinking back over the last few years, Dave, I'm just glad I made a decision when I did. I just don't want people to have to go through what I went through when I actually got started online, because I tried it for a long time, and here's what I realized. I realized there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle that people don't understand. You've got to understand how to make capture pages like Dave Sharp. Dave Sharp makes these little beautiful pages that are the sexiest goddamn things you've ever seen in your life, that he just stares at them for hours and hours and hours, and the whole goal of the page is to get you put your email address in. I've never been good at that. You got to know how to sell stuff. You got to understand how to set up a blog. You've got to maybe pay for some coaching. You got to maybe pay for some products. You got to buy a lot of stuff to be successful online. And then you're still earning these weenie ass commissions. My first month I worked about 18 hours a day. You remember that, Dave? You do the same thing? Yep. 18 hours a day from the morning till the evening. And I remember I actually earned a commission. I got it in the mail. And this is a true story. I was pumped up. My heart was racing. I went, you know, those checks, they got those little serrated edges and things like that from a lot of affiliates. We actually deposit money just straight into your bank account. You actually get the deposits. If you could imagine commissions depositing just straight into your bank account, that's what we do. But, you know, they were sending me a check, and it took forever to get to me, right? It was like 2 weeks after I earned it, and usually it's like 4 or 6. And I took that serrated edge off that thing, and I opened it up all pumped up, and I looked at that shit, and I said, fuck, and I put it on the ground and stomped on it because it was like $15. I worked it out to where it was like 0.001 cents an hour that whole month that I worked. But my point is that when you're earning these weenie ass commissions, you just can't make a lot of money. It takes forever. You got to have thousands and thousands of customers to make any money. Now, luckily, I know how to get thousands and thousands of customers. We built 72,000 people teams and things like this, and I've personally enrolled thousands of customers into stuff, but still I'm earning these weenie ass checks. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to be able to have a breakthrough and help people make money like the gurus do, but without being a guru.
Yeah, and you know, something that's interesting that I heard you say when you were talking about that was the whole concept of this is what I thought about, was not only was it frustrating for you, but if you want to go out there and you want to help people make money, which is really, what is that? You're going out, you're getting customers, you're going out, you're showing other people how to do the same thing. Well, the majority of the time, even if you do work your ass off like what we did when we first got started, the normal person, the average person who doesn't have time to do that, it's just impossible for them to duplicate what you're doing. So I'm gonna be just truthful with you on an emotional standpoint. What it came to for both of us, it came to the point to where we were absolutely frustrated, not only with the success that we weren't having, but also with the success that the people around us weren't having too. We were sick and tired of every single week a new guru launching a new product to all of our people, getting them more overwhelmed, getting them more confused, getting them more frustrated with more information overload than they had when they first got started and were failing, and we're now at a point to where they had spent more money, got out their credit card more times to buy more stuff, and we're still at a point to where they didn't know how to get started. See, any man can complicate something. It takes somebody who's smart and intelligent to make something simple. I realized that. And when I realized that if we could take our skill sets that we were using, that had finally kind of chiseled these skill sets out over the course of many months and many years to finally start having success, and we could package that and box that up into a simple 3-step system that we could give our team, that we could give people, and not sell it to them, not convince them, not sell and tell to them, but literally just hand it over to them for them to apply in their business, that would make a difference. See, it was a point to where we came not only physical of being frustrated in our business, but also mentally and emotionally frustrated in our business, and frustrated seeing people continue to do the same thing. It was like the definition of insanity. We were seeing people doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. We knew that if we had to change, or if things were going to change for not only us but also other people, that we had to introduce an entirely new system of getting money. Actually a formula of getting money, and it had to be simple. So that's when we started brainstorming, and a little over a year ago, actually about 18 months ago, I actually flew down to his house in Costa Rica. Now, of course, right now we're sitting in my house up here on the beaches of Florida.
Yeah,
but
I just got to say something. Isn't it badass living in a huge-ass house?
Yeah.
Dave Sharp just moved into this badass house a little while ago. I just want to congratulate you, brother.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what happens when you when you come up with a formula that works instead of trying to do the same thing over and over again expecting a different result, which was what I did for so many years, not only in my life before marketing, but also what I did in marketing when I first got started, buying guru after guru's products expecting a different result when all it was doing was overwhelming me. I needed somebody to give me a system that worked, that was simple. See, there's lots of so-called systems out there, but I'll tell you what, you log into the back office and it's like 42 different sets of instructions that you need to follow before you even start marketing.
Before you even get an idea to market something to earn a weenie ass check,
exactly.
You got to go through the 42 training.
Exactly.
You know and then you got to set up what the 42 trainings told you to set up, which takes another year and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I'm coming from a perspective, and I want you to remember this, that I'm coming from a perspective of not owning a company, of not, some guru sitting on top of a mountain, even though you actually do live on top of a mountain. We're coming from a perspective of actually being marketers in the trenches, of being entrepreneurs, of being people who have tried all of this bullshit that all of these people have come out with that have not worked inside of our business. That's the perspective that we're coming from. So about 18 months ago, I flew down to Costa Rica, and we put our heads together. And after we put our heads together and we started to throw ideas around, we took two visions and put them together. We took skill sets that you were good at certain things and I was good at certain things, and we asked ourselves, what if we can combine our skills? What if we can take the things that we're really good at, like communicating, like writing copy, like setting things up and selling for people on videos, and what if we can combine that, package that into a simple 3-step system that we can not sell but give people and let them use it inside of their business to start to get money? And that's when we came up with the concept of what we're literally not going to sell you today, because I don't feel that I'm at a place in my business that I need to sell, tell, or convince anymore. I'm at a place now to where we've now showed and helped and led over 72,000 people. Those people that you heard at the beginning of this video was just a very small fraction of the people who have gotten started with what we're teaching you and what we're giving you inside of this video to get results. What if we could take that, right? This is what we thought. What if we could take that and give that to the people? And that's exactly when we came up with the solution of Empower Network, right? That's when we came up with a solution of a simple 3-step system. What is that system? Well, it's blog daily, tell others, get money. Why did we come up with the concept of blogging? Well, for example, I'm more of a paid advertising, copywriting, communication guy. He's more of a content creation communication guy, and he had been using, and I want you to talk about that, you'd been using creating content. A lot of people don't realize that creating content, blogging or shooting a video like what we're using right now is one of the quickest ways to attract customers and build a relationship. You can use other people's videos, like on this page right now. You're actually going to be able to use this video that you're watching right now to sell stuff for you. But we wanted to teach people how to take the skill sets and the ideas that they already had and that were already in their head and take those and show them how to communicate those to the world to attract people to them to get money. And that's why we condensed the system and simplified it down to the 3 steps of blog daily, tell others, and get money. I want you to talk about how that applied in your life before and how it applies in your life and everybody else's business and life right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm going to talk about here for a second is how to make money blogging daily and telling others and getting money, and really how easy it is here versus some of the things that I've done and some of the things I've taught people to do, because I've actually been teaching blogging for years outside of Empower Network. So quick story, continuing on with the van. I was living in this van, I was almost homeless, got woken up by the police one night, decided to start marketing online, and I bought a little product from some schemy ass video online, right? And I clicked a button, I bought, and I went through 8,000 tutorial videos, and I needed to learn how to advertise to sell products so I could get commissions, right? I had to learn how to market, right? Well, all the techniques around, except for blogging, took a lot of money to do. So I was kind of forced into blogging, Dave. It was you could say it was a gift and a curse for me at the time, right? Because I had to set up everything. I was forced into blogging. I had to blog, right? So I just started doing it. I started writing articles. I started making videos on this dumbass ugly site years ago. And the goal of the site was simple. Somebody reads a blog post, they click on one of my ads, they put their email address in, they see a video like you're seeing right now, and we sell a product to them and get them as a customer, and then we take that customer and we teach them how to have success. That was my model. Well, here's the thing. It worked like crazy. Because blogging is the most sustainable way to get traffic online as an internet marketing strategy, my site started getting 500 visitors a day and 1,000 visitors a day, and I started making sales literally every single day. I remember the first day I made $300 in a day. I was so excited because my mind calculated that out. If I did it every day, it was $10,000 a month. That month I didn't make $10,000. That month I made $30,000 because my traffic started to exponentially expand. The problem was, though, is I taught people how to do it for years. There was a few people who latched onto what I taught them. They became 6- and 7-figure earners with what I taught them how to do through blogging, through free advertising, through writing articles, through making videos a couple hours in the evening, right? But those people, I'm going to tell you something, they were full-time, they spent thousands of dollars on education and tools, they spent hundreds of hours in technical frustration, and it was a few people out of thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So I had this brilliant idea one day when I was frustrated. I said, what if I could help people just blog daily, tell others, and make money literally from their first day? What would the value of that really be? What if I could help people make the money that I've been making for the last 2 years, but they didn't have to know the stuff that I know. They didn't have to have the technical resources they have. They didn't have to run a technical company infrastructure. They could just get started and make money. What if I could help people do that? And I had this idea to take that skill set and to put it into a system that everybody can use, to make it to where your blog is set up instantly with no work, with no technical headache. And here's the question that I want to ask you just for a second right now. If I could give you a $30,000 a month or more business model in a box, and you could literally just take that, what's that really worth to you? Well, here's what it's worth to start. I've paid over the years on all the seminars and stuff like this I've been to. Before I got involved in internet marketing, I've probably
This is
paid
actually
about
ridiculous how much
$20,000.
we've spent personally
We don't even
in
want
our
to talk
business.
about what we have here running the company.
Yeah.
I want to talk about what I spent to get where I was at. I probably spent about $25,000 in education over the years on selling, because it's what I've been doing my whole life, just to learn how to sell stuff. When I got online, before I started succeeding, I was paying hundreds of dollars a month for video hosting and for article writing services and for SEO tools and for my blog and for design and all this stuff. And still my website loaded and looked like shit. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. But after a while, my site started loading fast. Now I've put $5,000 in technical programming on my personal site, Dave. My hosting is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month, and it still doesn't look good, load as fast, or convert as well as the Empower Network system that somebody gets when they start without any technical setup or headache whatsoever. So what's it really worth to you? Well, here's what it is in the franchise world and traditional business. If I could hand you that business model where literally you could just piggyback off my credibility, where we could sell for you and you could keep not a part of the money, but you could literally keep all the money. If you could keep all the money and we could sell for you, if you could literally get all the money. If you saw those guys at the beginning of the video, those guys who are getting a lot of money, if you saw those guys and how much money they were making, how much money they were getting, the reason they were getting so much money is because they're keeping it all. When they make a product sale, they get all the money. Somebody buys the blog from this video that you're watching right now, and you get all the money. If you just get started and you sell this, and all you got to do is get people to this video, right? You keep all the money. If you could keep all the money, here's what I know. I know that you could make more money than you've ever made in your life, because I can sell and Dave can sell better than any two people you've ever met in your life, and we're going to be selling for you. I remember sitting on a webinar with Tony Rush. Tony Rush actually popped up earlier on the video, and he'd just been in a few months. And he always invited people to my live streams, and he sent me this email after this live stream. He says, Dave, I just made $2,500 doing nothing. Because I was selling for him on the live stream, and he was keeping all the money. He says, dude, I just want to thank you for making me all this money, because I can't sell like this. And now over the last year, he's made over $500,000 by applying this concept. Well, if you took Tony's business model as an example, Tony doesn't make phone calls, he doesn't make sales videos, he doesn't make capture pages, he didn't have to design, set up, or host a blog. All he does is send people to this video that you're watching right now, and in the last year, just sending people to this video, Tony has made over $550,000. He told me a story the other day. I actually don't know if it's in his video, so I'm going to share it again. He said, Dave, let me tell you something. I've been successful in this industry for a long time at varying levels, but it's always sucked. I've always been on the phone. I've always had to work my ass off. I was always having to sell all the stuff myself. He says, and the most I ever had in my checking account was a little over $30,000. He says, I was making $50,000 a month, but I was spending $20,000 and $25,000 and $30,000 maintaining all this crazy ass stuff I was doing. He says, the most I ever had previous to Empower Network, he's been involved in the industry for 18 years, succeeding for a majority of them, was $30,000 in his checking account. He told me the other day, he says, Dave, I don't know how to invest in nothing. I said, what are you talking about? He says, I got $220,000 sitting in my checking account right now, and I ain't never had so much damn money in my entire life. What the heck do I do with it? Now, isn't that a good question to ask? Isn't it a good question to ask, how can I have so much money in my checking account? Now, here's the thing that I want you to ask. A lot of people, they say, you don't talk about money so much. Gosh, stop talking about money. Stop talking about how much money I'm going to get. I want to, talk about giving money away. Well, you can't give money away if you don't got none, right? Imagine what you could do for people with that much money. We just gave $10,000 the other day to charity.
Right? I want you to think about that. We were homeless, and now we've gone out into the community because we've now started to, we figured out a way to get money really fast and simple, right? So we've gone out and we've taken large donations and donated to places like Habitat for Humanity to go back and kind of let our stories come full circle, which is so cool.
I was actually outside today. I had to go to the pharmacy, and I was outside the pharmacy. There's one of those guys ringing those little Christmas bells, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just dropped $100 in it.
Yeah.
You can't do that stuff if you ain't got no money, you know what I mean? He was like, shit, that's what he said, but I said, no, don't worry about it, man. I make lots. In Costa Rica, we pay our maids triple what anybody else has ever paid them in their life. We pay everybody that works for us at least double the local wages because we want to help people out. You can't do that if you don't got a lot of money. We can give way more money to charity. You can help way more people. You can buy $750 pens and still give $100 to the Christmas stand guy and still have over $500,000 in your checking account. But isn't that a good question to ask? Here's the question. What's that model actually worth that I just gave to Tony Rush? In a franchise world, if you buy a franchise, what's a franchise usually cost? It costs 5 times the annual income potential of the franchise. So in other words, in a traditional, this is a rule of thumb, not always, in a traditional franchise, if you want to make $100,000 a year, you got to invest $500,000, right? Well, in Tony Rush's case, just in the example in the last 13 months, right? Say in 12 months, maybe he made $500,000, okay? In the last 12 months, Tony Rush has made $500,000 in the franchise world. That would be worth $2.5 million if you just got started today. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you is I know that maybe there's one of you that's got $2.5 million. You're welcome to send it our way. We're obviously not charging $2.5 million. Literally, if we just gave you my business model combined with Dave Sharp's business model, and it's gotten a lot bigger since then, that business model in itself is a $500,000 in value business model. You would be stealing it for $10,000. That's the truth. If I gave you what I have right now, what I've built over the last few years, that by itself, if we were not paying 100% commissions, if you didn't get to keep all the money, if you didn't get all the money deposited in your bank account from the products that you sell, that there is a $500,000 in value in the traditional business sense. You don't have to do any work to set up the systems. That's the value in a franchise. Yeah. If you look at McDonald's, you look at you look at Subway, any of these things, the reason why these businesses are valuable is because all you got to do is show up and go to work.
Right.
What if you could just show up and go to work? Look, I know a lot of you guys are part-time. I know a lot of you guys got other businesses on the side. You're looking to just get some money. What if you could just show up and get the money? What if you could just show up and get to work? What's that actually worth to you? Well, I'll tell you it's worth more than a normal business would cost, but I'll tell you it's worth more to me than any Subway owner that I've ever met in my life. Right. Now, that's not insulting Subway, right? That's not insulting these traditional franchises. I'm just saying, for me, you know how much I work a day, Dave? Is about 1 or 2 hours. And you know how much Tony Rush works? Because he models our business model. He works 1 or 2 hours a day, and all he does is send people to this video, and when he makes a sale, which really we're making the sale, he gets to keep all the money. And when you have people, you can have thousands of people around the world, and we're even to teach you how, when you make a decision and buy, when they're watching this video and they pull out their credit card, you're going to be able to keep all the money. So what's that really worth to you? I'm going to tell you it's worth thousands. It's worth more than I've paid over the entire years of my education. It's worth more than every business that I've ever been involved in my life. It's worth more than my $750 pen, and it's worth more than this ridiculous necklace my wife bought me the other day for our anniversary. I'm telling you it's worth more than the camera that's filming us right now, and I'm telling you what it's worth is right now we pay for overhead about $250,000 a month, so not only can you just show up and go to work, but you don't have to hire any customer service employees. You don't have to hire a CEO and pay him a 6-figure income. You don't have to hire programmers and spend $500,000 in development. What do we spend on development, Dave? $500,000?
Too much to even think about.
So if you took this, if you took it for $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000, that would not be us selling it to you. You'd literally be stealing it. It's like you're taking your hand and you're sticking it in my pocket and just taking my wallet out. That's how cheap it is, honestly. But we were thinking about this when we came up with this model. Our goal was simple. It was, how can we take the proven successful business model that we've used for years, give people valuable products that now have millions of dollars in value. If you look across our product line and all the things that we have for people to sell, all the things we have people get commissions on, all the things that we have available to help them succeed. If you look at all this stuff, all the tools, all the systems, all the resources, all the training that we have, you combine it together, we've now invested millions of dollars between our events, our conferences, and development into what you're seeing on this page. And I'm telling you, what you're about to get is worth every little bit of it. But we want to help not just everybody, we want to help the average person succeed. So you can get in right now, you can just make a decision and get started. And so what we've decided to do is to give you the Empower Network blogging platform, the same blogging platform that I used before Empower Network, but superior, with $500,000 in development and technology, with $250,000 put into company infrastructure. So you're never going to have to answer a customer support request ever. You're never going to have to deal with credit card transactions ever. You're not going to have to get approved for a merchant account, not ever. You're not going to have to get any graphic design done, not ever. What you can do is you can just blog daily, tell others, and then you can get money. And so we're not going to sell that to you. We're actually going to give it to you, and you're going to get to steal it.
I want to reiterate something for a second, okay? You can either do things the hard way or the easy way, okay? And that's just life, right? I like to boil things down to a very simple decision that anyone can make. And you can go through all the pain and heartache and frustration and overwhelm that we went through. It's kind of like, I used to struggle, I struggled with this for 8 years of my life, addiction, alcoholism. And I'll tell you, I was homeless, my life was miserable, I was basically the definition of insanity, because I did the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And do you know that I was the last one to realize that I had a problem in my life? Everybody else around me was saying, hey Dave, hey, don't go down that road. Hey Dave, take a left there. And I'd say, oh, screw you, I'm going to take a right, I'm going to do it my way. And you know what my way ended up getting me? Broke, frustrated. And I'll tell you what, one day I had to ask myself a question, and I had to go stare myself in the mirror and be absolutely dead honest. Dave, is what you're doing working right now? I asked myself that. Dave, is what you're doing really working right now? And do you want to know the answer to that question was no. But you know, that wasn't an easy thing to admit. So when I started to realize that everything that I had done had got me to the point to where I was at, which was broke, overwhelmed, and frustrated, I finally said, you know what? I'm going to start doing things the easy way. And that's when it just so happened that I ran into you. It just so happened that we came up with a formula. And it just so happened when I made a decision to stop trying to do it my way, which was the hard way, and start doing it the easy way, life got easier. I started getting money. I started being more happy. My relationship started being better. I went from living in a shithole to living in a mansion. I went from driving a 1990 Ford F-150 with the paint peeling off to driving a Range Rover. And you know, life just got better. So the question is for you, is what you're doing right now working? And if it's not, then join us. Over 72,000 people just in the first 12 months have taken that little $25 blogging system and created a business that pays them tens of thousands of dollars a month. And you have the opportunity to do it right here, right now. There's a button below this video. All you've got to do is click it. And here's what we're going to do for you, just because we didn't build this company for us. We built this company for our team. We built this company for you. We're going to take you through a simple fast start training series after this video that's going to teach you how to automatically start quadrupling your business. How would you like to do the same amount of work and earn quadruple the money? It's a concept called leverage. And when you understand that concept, you can literally blow your business up without doing more work. And that's a concept that I did not understand, because before I got started with this system that we're handing you right now, you know what I thought equaled money? Work. And I realized that that wasn't true. More work does not equal more money. More leverage equals more money. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to click the button below, because it's there and it's calling your name, and there's something on the other side of this video right here once you make a decision called a new lifestyle, a new life, a new ability to make decisions, happiness, freedom. And a lot of people out there get started with business opportunities, and you know what they do? They're selling the dream, living a nightmare. They're out there telling people, hey, if you join me or you buy this, then you can have this lifestyle. And you know what? Behind the scenes, they're working their ass off. You know what Dave and I are doing the majority of the day? You know what our leaders are doing the majority of the day? You know what the people who use our system are doing the majority of the day? They're working for an hour or two and they're at the beach. Want to know why? Because we tell them, don't pick up the phone. We tell them, you don't have to sit in front of your computer and slave all day like everybody else is telling you to do. We say, we're going to teach you how to build a business and have a life at the same time, and we're not even going to charge you a whole lot for it. We're going to give it to you, not sell it to you, but give it to you for 25 bucks a month.
You're stealing.
I mean, you're literally stealing it for only
out of our
25 a
pockets.
month.
You're stealing it.
So guys, click the button below this video, get started, and we're actually going to meet you in 37 seconds. As soon as you fill out that form, it's only $25. It's literally less expensive. It's less expensive than a cheap dinner, not even a good dinner, a cheap dinner out with your family. Guys, what is your family having a new life worth to you? I'll tell you, if it ain't worth $25, you need to rethink your game plan for life. Pull out your credit card, hit the buy now button below this video. We will see you guys on the next page.